Welcome back into the Running Eagle Sports Network. My name is Billy Mangum, the Sports Information Director here at Life University. I'm joined today by our head women's volleyball coach, Steve Wilcosky. Coach, we're going to go over the 2019 season. Thank you for joining me.
No problem, Billy.
So, Coach, just going to kind of jump into your season, go over a little bit of the games, talk about some high points, some low points. What do you think is going to be challenging? What did you kind of schedule to, help your team out a little bit? Talk a little bit about the team structure and then, some overall expectations for the year. So starting off, August 20th, got to play Point, right down the road. They're coming here. Great way to start off the season in the upper gym. Heck of an environment last year that we had in there. So talk a little bit about that, the advantage of being able to open up at home.
Yeah, we try to always schedule our first match at home. I think our environment is unique. It's very intimate. We love playing our matches in the upper gym. To have your own court in the NAI is definitely home court advantage. Our schedule in general, playing in the Mid-South Conference is a really tough conference. Every game we have to prepare for and battle. So we try to schedule our non-conference along the same lines where we're going to have some successes but also be challenged quite a bit. So after we play Point here at home on August 20th, we're going to travel to Faulkner University, and we'll play 4 really tough matches, challenging matches against William Carey and Faulkner University, University of Mobile, and I believe Weber International.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that'll be a really good tournament. We went there 2 years ago, had some good success. Then we come back. One thing we're doing different this year is we're not playing the early tournament, so we're taking a little bit longer to prepare. Our institution gives us the opportunity to start preparing in July and gives us a bit of an advantage. Going into conference, we kick off conference this year against Cumberland University at home, which will be a great battle. That's actually going to be a tri-match. Where Reinhardt University from just down the street will be here as well. So we'll play 2 matches in that day. And then it's the grueling conference season going through at it. This year we have a new opponent in Thomas More from up in the northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. So that'll be a nice trip. They're switching over from NCAA Division III. So we'll see. I know they're going to be coached well. It's a friend of mine, John Spenny, who coaches that team, so it'll be fun to battle against him throughout the season as well. Our team this is the first year where we have a new class, meaning we started this program 5 years ago, so this is our 5th season. Our initial girls have graduated. We'll say that again. The girls that started the core group of athletes are now gone. So we have a new crop coming in, and we're really excited. A lot of homegrowns, and being from the state of Georgia, we do have our first international on the team this year, who I think will provide a lot of maturity and depth in one of the positions that we really need. And then we have a couple returners that I think will have really good seasons. They've been working extremely hard with Coach Stuckey, our strength and conditioning coach, and in our spring season. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think this team of all teams is the most balanced as far as classes, leadership, and just everyone's on the same page and ready to get after it.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to that conference schedule, with the size of the Mid-South Conference, you play everybody twice, play at home and away. Pretty much takes up a bulk of your season. So, you've only got a couple games before you really start playing those games that matter. Looking at the schedule, everybody, it's a home and away. You don't really have a lot of, home streaks, I would say. There's a couple games here and there, but, you've got a pretty even balance of playing on the road and at home. So what are some things that you think are going to challenge your team on the road, playing in the Mid-South Conference where, you're going to go to a Campbellsville or a Lindsey Wilson or a Georgetown or a Pikeville where, their fans are into the game. I mean, that is a very hostile environment sometimes going to some of these opponents. So how do you kind of how do you spend that with a relatively young team, as you mentioned, with everybody graduating last year?
Sure, I think routine is always best. So we try to make our away matches just like our home matches and have the same routine. I think the biggest challenge sometimes is when you have to drive straight up to a school, get off the bus, and play. So we try to allow enough time for us to get up there, familiarize ourselves with the gym, and have a good meal in us, and really just focus on the game plan, and that the ball's still the same, the net's still the same height, the court's the same dimensions, and then you just get after it. Sometimes some of the gyms have unique aspects to them based on colors, based on external factors, and that's where just us having mental toughness and working on that a little bit, talking about it, acknowledging the differences, and then moving forward gives us hopefully an advantage to make things as normal as possible.
Definitely. So I know one of the things that we're talking about doing this year is this implementation of green games, where it's going to be a very centered around the experience of what it means to come to a Life University athletic event. And from what we've talked about, that October 7th against Lindsey Wilson, that seems to be the big one. And Lindsey Wilson, they are nationally recognized as a volleyball program. So what do you expect out of your team? Going up against some opponents that arguably could make a run in the national tournament when you get into conference play.
So Lindsey Wilson this year has a brand new coach. They are an established program, but there is change. So we were very close. We competed very well against them last year. I think we keep knocking at the door. I think this year we have athletes that can go point for point with them. We'll see. There's a lot of their returners are not back. The environment, if we can get everyone out for that game, definitely will influence the outcome of that game, because Lindsey Wilson is not used to that kind of crowd. They have crowd, but they're not really a rambunctious crowd. They're more just kind of sit and golf clap through the game, where our fans are pretty passionate and definitely add home court advantage. So we hope to have a good student body presence and just campus community presence for that October 7th game.
Yeah, definitely. So, near the end of the season, conference tournament is roughly scheduled for the beginning of November right now. Ending the season with 3 home games. Really, really ending on a high note right there. You got Pikeville, Shawnee State, and Cumberland's. 3 could be close matches, could go either way. Talk a little bit about how important that is to kind of finish on a high note before the conference tournament. Where you get to spend some time at home. You're not really scrambling about, we don't know when we're going to play our next home game before conference tournament, and then you end up doing your senior day 2 weeks ahead of time. Talk a little bit about the advantages of ending the season at home.
I think it's great. I mean, you have a really strong opportunity to create rhythm against some formidable opponents. We always battle the University of Cumberland's strong. Normally they're our first conference game, so the fact that we get to play them last this year, there could be a lot of implications in that game. They're going to be a really strong team this year. So, I mean, it may come down to the wire as far as who's going to win that regular season based on those last 3 matches, or at least for seeding going into that conference tournament. So having the home court advantage is always a bonus there at the end.
Definitely. So, we've got to talk a little bit about your schedule and everything like that. Let's talk a little bit, expectation-wise. Sure. Everybody wants to go out there with the expectation of, we want to win conference, we want a winning season, but what are some more personal, expectations? Like I know last year you guys had, the different levels of commitment that you wanted to go after, the different steps to success. What is kind of what is the thing that you want to kind of steer the team towards? And saying that we work in athletics, we know that the team could show up in 2 weeks and everything completely changes because you have to kind of cater that to the group and the culture that you have. What is your general kind of expectation as a coach for this season?
Sure, the overall theme, you said one of them, it's show up. Every day we got to show up. And the other part of that is we got to work hard. So that's going to we're going to say that over and over. That's our hashtag this year, show up and work hard. And that's just a simple principle, but it covers so much in this game. We know that winning and losing, we can't control that. But we can control if we're going to show up. And we can control if we're going to work hard. And hopefully that puts us in a really good position to be successful. We always shoot. We want to win the conference. That probably this year is being echoed a lot more than previous years. I think the athletes that we have coming in, the way the conference is this year with some turnover and some new teams coming in, we have a really good shot. So our expectation is to win the conference. In the conference tournament, we have gone out in the second round the last 2 years. It's time we need to be in the finals of that conference tournament. Outside of that, expectations of being servant leaders is something we started this spring, and we want to do a better job of that in our community, on campus. So as people, we want to lead a little bit better than we have in the past as well.
Awesome,
Take
Coach.
a step in that direction.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that really embodies, the full spirit of what it means to be at Life University. Well, Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and best of luck this season.
Thanks. Go Running Eagles.